letting people in,
Very nice.
letting people in the room. Oh, here we go. I guess they're going to record this thing. Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Happy Wednesday. Is today Wednesday?
Today's Wednesday.
It is. How can you
Yeah.
forget? It's like one of the best days of the week.
Why?
You're halfway through the week.
Oh, what do they call it?
Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Hump day?
Welcome everybody, giving everybody a chance to kind of get in here. We're connecting ourselves on a few social channels, so we'll give everybody a chance to connect. Going to start off by asking a poll question. Just want to get general sentiment of Prime Day. So lots of conversation, lots of hype. Didn't happen as planned in 2021. It was delayed. It was part of the Christmas season. So when you start looking at, 2020, when you start looking at 2021 and you start looking at Prime Day, obviously you have questions about it. Obviously you think it's going to impact your business in some way, shape, or form, or you wouldn't be here today. Just kind of curious, what are your general sentiments about it? All right. So we're roughly at about 45% of the people on here who are saying they don't expect it to affect much of their sales. So hopefully, maybe we should ask this question again at the end and find out if maybe people learn something and find it as an opportunity for them to do that. About 20% of you are saying it's going to be great. About 32% are actively participating, but not excited. And only 5% of you are telling us that it's more pain than it's worth. So let's dig into some of these sentiments about Prime Day as we kick off our Ask Us Anything Prime Day special with my special guest, the members of our Seller Labs Managed Services team. These guys are working with hundreds of brands across the Amazon ecosystem on a daily basis to drive business using different forms of advertising, promotion, brand strategies, data analytics, and they get to be the front line of what's happening and how things are happening. So I'm super excited to introduce them and to get their opinion on Prime Day and have them be here to answer your questions. So Brett, this is your group. So why don't you go ahead and lead it off, introduce yourself, and then we'll go around the room and do the rest of the introductions.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jeff. First of all, thanks for having me. It's always a great time to be here. And I always love this lead up to Prime Day. There's always a lot that gets done. It's always a really exciting time. And then I love seeing that payoff come Prime Day when we actually see the results of how that holiday went. But my name is Brett Darby. I'm the Director of Managed Services here at Seller Labs. And I work with these two wonderful individuals you see here, Jessica Wright and Edward Ruffin. And I'll let them introduce a little bit more about what they do specifically on my team. But why don't you go ahead and kick us off here, Ed, and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, thank you, Brett, and thank you, Jeff, and thank you, everybody, for joining this webinar. Very excited about this. I know last year was a little weird with Prime Day, a little messy, a little kind of crazy, but this year I'm excited for it. Can't wait to see that payoff, like you're saying, Brett. My name is Edward Ruffin, aka PPC Ed, as some people call me. I'm one of the account directors at the Managed Services team at Seller Labs, and have really enjoyed this lead up to Prime Day so far, and can't wait to see everything we talk about today. But Jess, I'll let you introduce yourself as well.
All right. Also very excited to be here. Thank you for coordinating. Thank you for hosting. I'm Jessica Wright. I am also a member of the Managed Services team. I'm known as the Managed Services Genius. I come to Seller Labs with about 15 years of Amazon experience from the brand side, from the reseller side, agency. So I'm just kind of here as an expert, as much as anyone can be in the Amazon realm, to answer a lot of those questions outside of PPC, more of the general Amazon questions that everyone encounters day to day.
Yeah, and I think what's really cool, I guess for those that don't know me, my name is Jeff Cohen. I've been with Seller Labs for about 8 years. I run our marketing and host most of our webinars. And I think what's really cool about this group is you've got a group of practitioners, people who on a daily basis are executing the strategies we're going to talk about. You have a group of brand owners. Everyone in this group has owned or currently owns a brand that they run on Amazon. Well, so they're not just doing this for other people, they're doing this for themselves. And that's what I think makes us and makes this different than what you might hear from other people. Now, I want to start off by kind of attacking this from like where we are today to Prime Day. So the first question, which I can't believe this came up, but the first question was, when is Prime Day? Now, I know we started promoting this maybe before the Prime Day was announced, but let's just make sure everybody is aware when Prime Day is. Who wants to take it?
I'll try.
Go for
it. June 21st and June 22nd. So we're about 2 weeks away, a little under 2 weeks now.
And what's interesting is Amazon has shortened that period a little bit. They were kind of making it a little bit longer and longer, and they shortened it a little bit, and it will probably roll into the 4th of July. Now, they also, a question that was asked numerous times, so I want to address it, was the question of why does it take Amazon so long to announce Prime Day, to announce the actual date of Prime Day? I'd just be curious. Jessica, do you have an opinion on that?
I mean, I think there are a number of things probably that go into that. Somewhat competition, definitely logistics. There's a lot to coordinate for Prime Day, especially this year, with still seeing some COVID slowdowns, still unsure of what can happen, still delaying Prime Day in certain countries. I think logistics has a lot to do with it. And then definitely online competition. Every year that gets more and more fierce. Walmart's doing things, Target's doing things. So there's, they want to, as much as they possible, control this event, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with you. I believe that's a pretty strong sentiment. And I think that, like we're seeing in some other parts of the world, Amazon announced the Prime Day and they've had to cancel the Prime Day because those countries aren't moving along with the COVID impact like it has in the US. Okay, so now let's talk about kind of leading up to Prime Day. The poll question we asked about sentiment analysis, like, should it be something? It's too late to participate in an official Prime Day deal, but if you're advising your brands, or how are you advising your brands to prepare for Prime Day? And if they tell you, or they believe that there's a disadvantage, how do you kind of react to the idea that what are the disadvantages of not participating in Prime Day? Like, what are the encouragements for doing it? Ed, you want to start with that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is, regardless of what happens, there's a lot more eyeballs on Amazon during Prime Day. So I think it's huge to actually do some type of, participation, whether it's just kind of ramping up your ads or staying focused on your ads so you're keeping them running throughout the day, doing some unofficial deals such as coupons that run for a different amount of time, or doing some discounts on the product itself, just to make sure you're taking advantage of that extra traffic, because that's going to be on there regardless. You might as well participate to some degree to capitalize on it and get some return in the meantime. If you just kind of sit by the wayside and do things like you normally would, you may miss out on some great sales during that time period.
Yeah. And I think, what that comes from is that people are shopping on Prime Day and they're looking for a sale. So if I'm going to run a sale, and I'm not running a Prime Day sale, but I'm just going to run a sale on my product, Brett, what's the recommended discount that I should be considering? Does it matter?
Yeah, it definitely matters. I think it does depend upon the category, but it's got to be healthy enough that there's a reason to buy. If I didn't buy today with no discount, what discount will make me be incentivized to want to buy your product? For some items, it could be as small as 5% because it's a big ticket item, and that might be $50. For other items, you do have to discount a little bit more heavily, maybe 15 to 20% minimum, to really incentivize that customer and get them enticed.
Yeah. And what I want to remind people about is that, we don't always think about it, but Prime Day is the kickoff to Christmas. Sounds weird, but there are people who are getting in the habit of buying early and using Prime Day to start stocking up their Christmas shelves. So be thinking about it and thinking about it in that way. Jessica, one of the things that I think is interesting that Amazon is doing this year, I think they've done some things in the past, but they're definitely doing it this year, is they're offering incentives for you to shop today with the intention that by shopping today, you get extra. It's like Kohl's Cash. I don't know if you shop at Kohl's, right?
Mhm.
Shop today and get cash to spend on Prime Day. We have a number of our clients who are eligible for this promotion. So I'm just curious if you can explain the promotion a little bit to everybody, and then if maybe how somebody could figure out if they're eligible for this promotion. And then if you are, what should you do about it?
Sure. So it is an invite only type of promotion, and Amazon's going to be alerting sellers, or they actually did alert sellers on the 7th, I believe, if they were going to be included in the promotion. So if you are a seller and you're wondering if you've been included, you should already have received an email letting you know that your products or your store will be included in this promotion. And basically, it's Amazon's effort to promote small businesses. And they will give shoppers a $10 credit to use on Prime Day if they are shopping right now, and if they shop one of those businesses that is included. So for the seller, there's no action to take. There's no cost to the seller. If Amazon picks you, you're automatically opted in, and then you just get that benefit of traffic being driven to your products so that the customers can take advantage of getting that extra $10 or that Kohl's Cash, as Jeff referred to it.
Yeah, I'm sure Amazon loves my referral to it as Kohl's Cash. But okay, so I've been selected. Personally, I was not, but I've been selected. What do I want? Like, what do I want to do about that? What do I want to maybe change about my promotion leading up to Prime Day to incentivize my base to buy?
So anything you can do to drive traffic to your listings. I gave this example before, which is a great one of any social media traffic you can drive in to specific products, any offsite traffic you can send, sending sellers directly to your store, anything that you can do to get eyes on your products and kind of let them know, hey, come shop my store right now. You'll get this extra $10 to spend on Prime Day.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds weird, like do the promotion for Amazon, but like you might have a $20, $30, $40 product and somebody can get $10 to spend later. That might be the incentive they need to buy your product. I'm definitely looking to buy product to get my $10 because I know I'm going to be shopping on Prime Day. And why would I not want to be? It's very similar to the gift cards that they typically sell on Prime Day. Everybody on here probably buys an Amazon gift card when you can spend $40 and get $50 worth of credit. It's a no-brainer. So this is, again, to me, a no-brainer. So the first thing is, check your email. If maybe even there's a way to check your listing, because I think some of the listings are identified as the ones that qualify. Because maybe somebody else in your company got the email and you didn't. And then if you do qualify for this, get a quick plan up and running immediately to promote this, because there's no reason not to promote this. Had a question come in about Prime Day in Canada and that it was canceled. And I will confirm that Prime Day in Canada was canceled due to COVID, but it's still currently planned, I know, for the US and the UK. If you have other questions, you can post them in the Q&A or in any of the social chats, and we would be happy to dive in and answer those as they come in. We've got a lot of questions from our audience kind of during the registration process. So I want to start to like the ramp up to Prime Day. It's too late to send in more inventory, or maybe the question is it too late to send in more inventory? And maybe we'll start with you, Brett, on that. And then Ed, if you could kind of take me through, how do you prepare your your promotional schedule for Prime Day? When do you start ramping up your ad spend, relooking at your ads? So Brett, is it too late for inventory?
Yeah, largely for most brands. I mean, there is the chance that you're able to get a couple quick check-ins for some product that might be on some ancillary products, but it's unlikely you're going to be able to ship in a container full of something and maximize Prime Day now. They did provide cutoff dates earlier in the year to make sure sellers knew about this. And that's always usually the writing on the wall that tells you when Prime Day is kind of going to fall. They're telling you the dates of when all of the T's and I's need to be dotted and crossed. And you can kind of read it and say, okay, well, it's probably a few weeks after that.
Yeah. All right, Ed. So I've got my inventory in. I'm prepared for Prime Day. I'm going to start kind of ramping up my advertising. Walk me through an advertising strategy that I should consider or that I should start planning to implement as I'm looking at Prime Day and preparing to run increase my sales, whether it be through a coupon, a promotion, or a Prime Day deal.
Yeah, I mean, so we started these conversations a while back, month and a half ago. Even we kind of had like some speculation of when Prime Day was going to be, just so people could start getting things in place. And when it comes to coupons, even if you can't do a Prime Day specific coupon, you can still do coupons around that time frame. So going ahead and getting those submitted so they can be accepted and approved beforehand and make sure that they're going to run smoothly throughout that time period. And when it comes to ads, one thing I think I say every year is I am not a fan of launching brand new ads that go live on the day of Prime Day because they have no history. Amazon doesn't know what the heck is going on inside the ads. They don't know what's worked, what hasn't worked. So instead, we just kind of capitalize on the existing ads that have already been running because they have that proof. They've proven themselves, they've made sales over time, and Amazon has a better idea of what type of traffic to drive to those campaigns. So it's really about optimizing those, cutting out wasted ad spend a couple weeks, even a month before Prime Day to clean them up. So once Prime Day does come around, you're running as efficient as possible so you can make the most use out of that daily budget that you have set. But one of the biggest things we're doing, we're actually blocking off our calendars for the most part for those days so we can do budget checks throughout the day and make sure that the budgets are not maxing out so all the campaigns can run as long as possible throughout the day. Because once the budget's met, the campaign pauses, you're missing out on a lot of traffic that you can really take advantage of.
Yeah. And I think, if you think about this from a shopper perspective, the traffic to the site is going to 5 to 6x in a 24-hour time period. And your budgets are not designed to do that. When you ramp up for Christmas, you start to see that increase in traffic through the end of October and into November and through the middle of December. And so your budgets are kind of growing as traffic is kind of growing. But for Prime Day, it's a hit hard, drop off. And so it's important that you have this plan, you have a plan for Prime Day to where you're watching things and that you're preparing. Now, what about bid adjustments, Brett? How are you kind of preparing for bid adjustments as you ramp up for Prime Day? Are you starting to anticipate the competitive bids? Are you going to do those kind of on the fly that day? Like, how do you kind of maximize your impression share?
Yeah, most of our changes are kind of pre-planned or slated out in advance. So there might be specific changes that happen day of or day before. It kind of all depends upon the client and their specific needs and deals they might be running and expectations and growth plans. So it does depend upon what they're looking to see. But
I'm going to get you that shirt again.
You should. I deserve it. But what they really need is you need to make sure that you're understanding CPCs are going to rise. The average cost per click on the marketplace because of competition is going up. And so you are going to be paying more than you might have the week before or 2 weeks before. And so you do need to kind of inflate your bids a little bit to make sure that you're still competitive. But Amazon's launched a ton of cool features to help you do this without a bunch of work. You've got placement modifiers for top of search and product pages. You've got dynamic bidding up and down. So you don't just have to rely on a specific number you pick out of a hat or, just guessing 1.5 or 2x. You can actually use these modifiers to give a little bit of leeway to Amazon to use that budget when they see the highest likelihood of conversion. That being said, they're not always right. So you do want to kind of check what they're going to actually be bidding on. So a quick scrub of keywords to clean it up and improve the performance would definitely help.
Great. So Jessica, I know the answer is going to be use social, but people get so stuck on the idea that Amazon should be driving their sales for them. When you're considering your promotional plan, right? When you were working for the brands, when you were on the brand side of the business and you were planning for a Prime Day promotion, how were you kind of using a mix of the different marketing channels that you had to maximize the exposure to your product and drive your sales?
Well, yeah, you never want to use just Amazon if you have those other outlets because all of that traffic works differently. All of the conversions work differently. If you have your own website and you sell on your own website, sometimes during these promotions, you want to drive that traffic to Amazon anyways, because you know that's where the eyes are going to be. And so social, like you said, is going to be what's going to give you that opportunity, and with a lot less restrictions as well than what you can do on Amazon. On social, you can say Prime Day deals. You can kind of talk about these things in a way that you can't on Amazon, and you can tell the story a little bit better and drive people to specific things for specific reasons. So that's just a really helpful avenue if you have that.
Yeah. And I mean, that was a question that was asked by Tana, where she said, does Amazon permit you to promote this cash deal? And I think what you brought up was a really great point, which is Amazon has a lot of rules and restrictions about what you can do on the Amazon platform, how you can ask for reviews, how you have to write your listings, how your photography has to look. When you go into your social arena, I wouldn't say it's totally the Wild West, but you definitely have a lot more room that you can play with things. You can say that you have a Prime deal. And so one of the recommendations I'll give and throw in here is like, not only do you need an Amazon marketing promotion schedule, when are you going to run your deals? What deals are you going to run? When are you going to ramp up your advertising? You need an external one. You need to understand, like, you can be dropping hints 2 or 3 days before Prime Day saying, I'm going to have a Prime Day deal, swipe up to, to sign up, or you can be doing different things to kind of tease the audience to where they know it's coming, so that they're anticipating. Now, it might slow down your sales for a day or two before, because people are waiting for that Prime Day discount to come. But your customers are then going to be waiting and there to help you pounce. And the Amazon algorithm, the Amazon flywheel, is driven by sales. And so you need to get that maximum burst of sales going to get ahead in the organic ranking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just agreeing. Absolutely. You do want to build that excitement, and that's what you can do that with social in a way that you can't on Amazon.
So I want to jump into a poll question here and ask, what are you doing? What are you planning to run for Prime Day? And we have kind of a couple different suggestions that you have here, from lightning deals, which are Prime Day deals. You had to specifically apply for these early coupons where you can actually be still setting these up today, driving external traffic, running Amazon advertising, running a subsequent sale on your own website. I'm just kind of curious what people are doing. So it looks like the majority of people here are going to be running Amazon advertising. About 65% of the people on here are going to be running a coupon along with that. About 20% are running a lightning deal or something on their own website, and about 20% are going to be sending external traffic. So a good mix with Amazon advertising being the heavy pull. So how do you kind of answer the question, Brett, of, hey, I'm running Amazon advertising, I don't need to do anything else?
I wish that was the truth. Unfortunately, it's not. There's a joke. How do you make sure that your Amazon sale or lightning deal, best deal, whatever have you, is successful? You bring all the customers. It's the only way to guarantee it is you ensure that you're piggybacking off email lists and whatever avenues you have to make sure those customers go and purchase from you. Because Amazon's not guaranteeing traffic. They're just giving you a platform to facilitate the sale. And it's a great one, but it's also competitive. So you have to make sure that you're trying to find the lowest cost avenues of bringing customers to your detail page. Some months that might be bringing them through social. Some months it's email lists. And some months it might be Amazon advertising. But I think in a period like Prime Day, it's important you're kind of leveraging each of these because it's necessary to get your visibility of your products out there.
And it's kind of, you kind of touch on a misnomer that it's kind of a hidden thing in the industry that people don't want to talk about, which is you have to get the flywheel going. You can't just be dependent on Amazon doing it. And I think that there are some products that can get it going without the flywheel. And I think the kicker to it is how much you push your outside traffic versus the Amazon traffic, because I'm not a believer that 100% of your outside traffic needs to be pushing into Amazon. It's really a matter of the levers. Jessica, how do you kind of advise on that when you're talking to people?
Yeah, and we've seen this a lot over the last couple of years with, 2 years ago with all of that chatter about Amazon potentially getting rid of all these third-party sellers and people having to pivot on the dime. Last year with the COVID restrictions and things getting so far behind, it isn't a great idea to have everything in that Amazon basket. It can be setting you up for some trouble if anything happens. And that's why, like you said, just there are very few products, but there are some that can just kind of launch on Amazon and go wild without you doing anything. Even if that can be done, you don't want to do that. You always want to have something in your back pocket. You always want to be looking at these other channels and these other avenues and kind of stoking everything. And ultimately that just builds your brand and builds your brand awareness. So that can't hurt. It's going to help your Amazon sales while also giving you other avenues to explore, other ways to capitalize. And not every shopper is an Amazon shopper. Even if they occasionally shop on Amazon, you do have some people who are Walmart loyal, who are Target loyal, who want to go to their local stores and shop in person. But if you've done things right and you've done advertising other places and you've built your brand other places, then you have brand awareness and people are going to shop your brand wherever they may be.
So Ed, let's talk about Prime Day mistakes. What is the number one mistake you see your clients do in preparing for Prime Day? And then I'm going to ask Brett and Jessica to give a mistake as well.
Well, I kind of have two that go together, and it has to do with advertising. What do you know? The first one is people saying, I don't want to take part in Prime Day. I'm turning off all my ads for both of those days. I don't want to spend any extra money on that. Don't do that, guys. Please don't. On the flip side, we've also had people that want to quadruple their bids for Prime Day, not knowing how much they're going to spend. And then they come out on the other side with this really big, ticket of how much they have to pay for. And they can't handle the truth of how much they spent and how high their CPC got. So be a happy medium, find some areas inside of that, control your bids, but do not skip out on Prime Day and don't go crazy unless the data is there from beforehand to back it up and show that you can actually get some sales from your extra push that you do.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point, which is if you have past history, you need to use that to help predict how the future is going to react. And if you don't have past history, then you need to make a predictive plan and then you need to see how you do. And one of the challenges of Amazon data is that it is 24, 48, 72 hours delayed. And so you're not going to see it. Now you will see sales, you will see your spend on the day and you will see sales coming in, but you won't know what's directly related. So it's not like you can start tweaking ads during the day and tweaking ad spend. You just have to kind of have a general understanding of my spend for the day and the sales for the day. And am I happy with it? Brett, what's the biggest mistake you've seen people make?
I was going to piggyback on Ed's because I agree with the bid adjustments, having inflated expectations or just expecting that you can raise bids and that's going to be enough. But I think one that's slightly outside of that is not using this holiday or Prime Day as an opportunity to evaluate what your competition is actually doing. Not taking the time to actually go become a consumer for an hour, take a long lunch break, whatever you have to do, but you have to spend some time to look at what your competition is doing and properly record it, capture it so you understand some of that pricing history. What were some of the discounts that worked well in your categories? What were the deals? Were they coupons? Were they best deals, lightning deals? I hear so much anecdotal evidence from last year of, well, this brand did great because of this or that, but they don't really have any factual data to support it. It's simply, I'm pretty sure they blew us out of the water last year. But if you can actually spend a little time to capture that or hire a VA for a day to go record what's actually happening in your category, you'll go into next year a lot more prepared. And before that, you'll go into Black Friday, Cyber Monday more prepared.
So Brett, what data points should I maybe be looking at?
Yeah, I would be looking at price, deals, discounts, promotions. I would go outside of Amazon as well. You've identified that your main competitor that you go head to head with every day of the week is running a lightning deal. What are they doing outside of Amazon? Go inspect what they're doing on Google. Go look up their social ads. Go look up their ad inventory on Facebook to see what their ad library looks like and see, are they doing anything to promote that you could mimic or mirror later on in the year to capitalize in Black Friday and Cyber Monday? Because odds are they're doing a lot of these same things we're talking about. You only have awareness of the one lightning deal. So you're attributing that success to the one deal instead of all of these cumulative factors.
Yeah. And I think that's, I've seen, and I've talked to quite a few clients that are like that, where the client is basically saying, well, they're doing good on Amazon. I should be doing well on Amazon. And it's like, well, did you sign up for their email? Because I'm on their email list and I get 5 emails a day, and I'm on yours and I get none. And their social, they've been pushing this for a week and you pushed it once. And so you can't just look at what's happening and say that you're equal to them. You have to understand what they're doing. I think that's a great suggestion. Jessica, do you have any kind of mistakes of Prime Day that you would share?
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off of Brett's as well, harnessing what happens during Prime Day to prepare you for Q4 or Black Friday and that sort of thing. This increased traffic is going to hopefully help you move some inventory and increase your sales velocity, which hopefully should help you with your restock limits. So don't go out of stock after Prime Day. Don't just make sure you got that inventory now and then coast for a while. You need to replenish, you need to get it back in so that you are able to continue bringing it in and keep up that sales velocity. Because as far as we know, in general, inventory, those inventory limits are a number of factors, but a big thing is what you sold the previous quarter. That's one of the biggest things that impacts your limits, and therefore you need to take advantage of what you're doing now to keep that going into Q3, to keep that going into Q4. And the same thing just with like, you're going to have a bunch of sales, so make sure you're getting those reviews in. Don't let that fall by the wayside. If you've got sales, request those reviews, get those things to get your products better ranked and more more attention leading into Q4. And then some of the new things that Amazon has introduced as well, like posts. Take advantage of this traffic to get posts out there, to get more followers, to get more brand awareness. Even if you're not looking at this as a great opportunity to have great sales for the summer because you just don't think that your products are a great fit for Prime Day specifically, take advantage of that traffic to prepare you for the end of the year and for the time that may be your top selling season.
Yeah. And I think what you're kind of touching on is something we track closely, which is like, what is the sentiment of Amazon and what are they focused on? They're focused on the customer. We know that. They're focused on reviews. We've been following that for a while. They're focused on the brands engaging with the customer, whether that be through your store and store analytics, through your post and post analytics, or even through Amazon Live and the ability to go live. And so these are the things you have to kind of, when Brett said, keep an eye on what's happening in the space. These are the things that maybe aren't part of your Prime Day plan today, and they won't be part of your Prime Day plan this year, but you should be watching them to see how they interact. I'll be very interested to watch Amazon Live and how many people are on Amazon Live and what live shopping is like and what kind of integration live shopping gets into the product detail page. I remember, I think it was Black Friday, Brett, you'll remember that on the Lego live page, they literally had a camera set up and they had 2 kids building a T-Fighter, which is a Star Wars ship. And they had these kids, they just boxed the Legos in front of them. And these kids just building the T-Fighter, and it was showing up on different Lego pages and everyone's commenting, oh my God, that's so cool. Oh my God, I want one. And so that's what brands are doing. And I'm expecting to see more of that on Prime Day. Brands who don't even have a huge live presence are going to possibly be going live with just straight up interaction of their product, especially if you have something like Legos where you can just schedule different people to be building Legos throughout the day. It's pretty easy to be planning and doing. And those are the things you might need to work into your mix. I want to take a quick break here, bottom of the hour, and then we'll be going for about another 20 minutes. We're here to answer your questions about Prime Day. We've gotten a lot of questions from you guys so far. We have more questions coming in via our social channels. So if you have any questions, go ahead and post them, and we'll try to get to as many of these as we can. And we have some other things that we'd like to cover as well. Now, I want to move to the idea of Amazon advertising and all the feature functionality that Amazon advertising has. Amazon advertising has completely exploded over the last 2 years. And there are so many different ways to advertise on Amazon, from ASIN targets to brand videos to audience targeting to retargeting. This list is what I'll say is like the new above and beyond of what's happening on Amazon. Most people are out there talking about the basics of sponsored brands, sponsored products, display ads. These are kind of the next level. So which of these are you taking advantage of? We probably should have had none of the above so people could vote for none of the above. But if you have none, it's okay. Just don't click on any. But I'm curious, these are the newer tactics on Amazon. Which ones are you using? Because today on Amazon, Brett, it's a lot more complicated to run advertising than it has been in the past.
Yeah, no, I mean, it used to just be head-to-head keyword competition. You want the keyword, I want the keyword. We're both going to fight it out with a bid. Now it's more complex. I mean, I could be running an ASIN targeting ad where I'm targeting your ASIN. I'm not even going after the same keyword. I'm just trying to capture them once they get to your detail page. So I'll let you have the keyword, Jeff, but I'm going to steal all the traffic from your detail page. And on top of that, I'm going to use sponsored display to make sure I'm showing up right under that buy box. So I'm very visible, and I'm going to get a custom creative or custom brand logo or write my own headline. So there's a lot of new ways to even start to sprinkle in some creative aspects that haven't been available through Amazon in the past few years.
So what's interesting about the poll results is 90% of people are doing ASIN targeting. About 60% are doing brand videos. About 40% are doing ASIN targeting videos, sponsored display targeting, or sponsored display remarketing. What's interesting is that we normally get about an 80% poll response rate when I run a poll. I've only got a 30% poll response rate. So I'm guessing that the majority of the rest of you aren't doing any of these. I just didn't give you that as an option. So shame on me. But it's interesting data as to where the new frontier is. I'll share the results for everybody to be able to see, because it's important for you to see, like, if you're not doing any of these, this is where your competition is spending their time, their energy, and where they're doing things. So if you're not doing any of these are where you should be thinking about working in the future. Ed, talk a little bit about the idea of advertising with a new form of advertising. How would you kind of look at it or go about it or decide to kind of work it into your mix?
So I always look at the advertising based off of what type of campaign it is. For instance, with sponsored product, that's more bottom of the funnel, more based on the engagement conversion. Sponsored brand, more mid funnel, more about building brand awareness. And then sponsored display is bigger brand awareness. So like with sponsored brand video ads, for instance, they're my favorite type of ad. But when we first started off with them, we had to kind of be a little cautious. And that's what I usually do. I'm a cautious guy. I'm also pretty cheap. So what we usually do is we come in, we have the creative, we run the
You're
ad
frugal.
itself.
You're not cheap.
I'm frugal. Okay, that's way better. That's way better. It sounds way better to begin with. But what we do is we start off the ad being a little more conservative at first, but we're doing like multiple times a week bid increases to get the bids exactly where they need to be, to we're actually getting the placements that we want. And then we see the conversions follow more and more based on the placement. And this is what I do with most new campaigns that I launch for my clients, and even new types of campaigns, especially new types of campaigns with no history. Like they just came out. We don't know how they're going to perform. We start off a little slower, but we ramp it up pretty fast based on data and performance and conversion. And whatever's working gets that extra push. We double down on those bids. We push things harder. We look at our placement. We check our placement. That's a big one. So it really is about not just going in with $12 bids and $1,000 daily budgets and just hoping for the best and holding your breath, because a lot of times it'll backfire. So it's more about following the data and basing your decision off of the data that's happened beforehand and that history that you're currently building off of that new type of campaign. So yeah, and it's really fun.
I think what's critical is that a lot of the tools that are out there are covering the basics of advertising, even ours. To get more sophisticated into some of these more advanced features and functionalities, you either need to be doing it yourself, or you need to be working with a service organization like ours that's working with these on a daily basis. And so if you're kind of struggling to kind of figure out how to take your advertising to the next level, and you're trying to figure out, like, why would I not just do it myself? These are kind of the opportunities that you have when you start to work with an agency that is working with 350 plus brands and millions of dollars a month in advertising. We're experimenting and we're sharing. And maybe, Jessica, you can talk a little bit about how Seller Labs tries to take learning from one client or from one person and share it with the others in the team so that everybody kind of benefits.
Sure. And that's, very much what kind of my role is here at Seller Labs, is to help understand what's going on the Amazon platform as a whole and with all of our clients as a whole, and help our account managers and account directors to understand those things and be able to apply them to different situations, to be able to keep our clients ahead of the game and informed about something somebody else may have run into or something that may be coming down the pipeline, so that we can be proactive with, managing the accounts and taking advantage of every opportunity that's out there, and making sure you know how to navigate these really tricky areas. We have a really great team on the managed services team, really close knit. We talk regularly, and we have these great opportunities to educate each other, to debrief each other, to bring this knowledge around and share it, but not just internally, but externally with our clients as well, and to keep you up to date as much as we are.
Yeah. And I think like that's kind of the kicker of communities in general, right? And so not just the community of our managed services group, but the community that you're in, why you come to things like this, so you can kind of learn from other people, and you can get a sense of like what other people are doing. And when you're preparing for a big holiday like this, we call it a holiday, we call it internally, we call them tent post events. You have to be looking at that. So Brett, what should I expect in terms of traffic variance for, say, Prime Day compared to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Cyber 5 holiday? Like, am I looking at a 2x, a 3x? Is it who knows, because the internet has changed so much in the last 2 years since we had a summer Prime Day?
Yeah, I think this year it might be a who knows. There's so many moving pieces, like you mentioned, with COVID and Prime Day being punted originally to Q4 last year and now being bumped up a little bit earlier. I think it is anybody's guess as to what the traffic lift will be. But I think inevitably, like you mentioned, customers are going to be looking for deals. The one thing that's different between Prime Day and Black Friday is by Black Friday, there's a time pressure. If you're going to get a gift to anyone, you better act quick. You don't have much time. Today, you have a lot more time, so you can maybe be a little more frugal or a little bit more focused on, is this the right deal for me? So I'm excited to see what will transpire this Prime Day, but I do think it's going to be a sizable lift compared to previous years.
And something that's not getting a lot of press just yet is what's happening in the logistics space. So we've seen it as Amazon sellers that getting our products into Amazon is harder. Amazon's restocking systems and processes are harder. But when you start to back that up, there's major disruptions in the whole logistics supply chain. And I'm curious, are you hearing from any of your clients that like they're not going to have their inventory for Prime Day, even though they prepared for it, it just didn't come in? Or maybe, I know this isn't very Prime Day specific, but what are your customers doing to kind of all deal with that? I'm hearing shipping prices are 3 to 5x what they were a year ago. Tariffs are still 20 to 25% coming out of China. Like, are we going to have problems getting products in for Q4? I think there's going to be a run on things, and you don't necessarily know what's going to be the run, but there's going to be a run on things because inventory is going to get tight. Jessica, any thoughts on that? Everyone was shaking their heads, so I'll give everyone a chance to chime in.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to have opinions and things to talk about on this. So yeah, I think that, if we start all the way back at, the factory levels, and not all factories are back up to speed yet. There are still many countries, India, for example, where a lot of products are produced that aren't operating at full speed. Factories aren't 100% open. They aren't opening all of their ports. So you can't necessarily get the products produced as fast as you'd like, and you certainly can't get them onto ships as quickly as you would like. So that's, step number one in the process is already bottlenecked. So that impacted things for Prime Day for sure. We heard that from a number of clients, but it will continue to impact things throughout the rest of the year. If we go completely to the other end of the supply chain and Amazon, those restock limits are going to continue to be a logistical nightmare, I think, because what people are going to continue to struggle with is if they can't get the product now to sell it now, their sales velocity doesn't tick up, and therefore their restock limits don't start to expand, and they're going to get into Q4 still kind of limping along, bringing in just-in-time inventory to get things moved, which of course is a challenge. And we're all going to have to figure out how to work within it. But the biggest thing that you can do is just not go out of stock on anything. Manage it as closely as you can, because going out of stock is the ultimate like game killer. Then you lose complete velocity.
And I also feel like Amazon's playing a weird IPI game where they had a different IPI limit and then they lowered the IPI limit, which is going to kind of make everybody rest easy that they're okay. Are they going to raise it again before it gets to Q4? We don't know. Ed, what are your thoughts? I got you laughing.
Well, I got to say, first of all, Jess has been my guardian angel throughout all of these crazy issues with inventory. And we are working with a client in particular that has a very limited restock limit. And we're having to pull product out of Amazon to make room for other product. He can't ship in his bestseller because everything else is taking up the inventory levels. And even looking at it larger, like, I mean, I have other clients where they get their products shipped from other countries that people normally don't get things shipped from, and they're still locked down completely, like you were saying, and they can't get the product and they're kind of at a standstill. So once you don't have the opportunity to prove your velocity on Amazon, your indexing and your rating goes down over time, and you get less traffic pushed to you because Amazon says, oh, well, you can't handle this traffic. You don't have the inventory for it. So it's a huge battle. It's one thing I deal with probably on a daily basis now with a lot of my clients, but I gotta say, it keeps you on your toes and you learn something new every day about how crazy it can really be out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that the port of I've heard that the port of LA is backed up 5 weeks with ships just sitting out in the water. And I was talking to a guy who does a lot with logistics, and he told me he's starting to get ships that go into other ports. Some people are taking them through the Panama Canal over to the East Coast. Some people are taking them up into Canada. They're just trying to stay away from the busy ports that are just not going anywhere when the product gets there. Brett, IPI, inventory, how's this kind of play into today in your business and kind of what you need to be looking forward to as you move forward?
Yeah, definitely seeing a lot of sellers struggle. This is the time to really pay close attention to those numbers and make sure you're restocking correctly, that you've got some good forecasts, that you're improving that model if you don't feel like you have good forecasts, especially if you're an Amazon-focused seller. If 70 to 80% of your revenue is coming from Amazon, now is the time to focus on that and make sure that you're finding these inefficiencies and improving them, because raw material costs are going up, shipping costs are going up. I got a call on Monday from a client of mine saying his $6,000 container cost just went up to $25,000. And he's like, this product's not getting launched in 2021. We're going to punt it to 2022. So it's now impacting potential growth plans and things like that. So you do have to pay very close attention to it. Fortunately, in his case, he's got a number of other products that are doing fine, but it does interrupt that growth plan where you can't even launch a new product.
So one tip that was shared with me about logistics was the way to always save money on logistics was to do your own container, have a 20 or 40 foot container. What's happening in the ports in China is that the companies that need to get their products on water are paying premiums to get the containers away from other people. And so it's what's old is new again. Actually, the way to get your products on ship are to actually go to partial containers. So if you have 1,000 units that you would normally take up a 40-foot container, can you put 250 units into 4 different containers? And there's a good chance that the example you gave, that he could probably do 4 containers at 250 units per container for a lot less than $25,000. But it's more logistics when it gets here. So it adds a lot to it. I want to wrap up by asking you guys kind of final thoughts on Prime Day, where to spend my time and energy, like what would you kind of leave people with? But before I do, you've had a chance today to interact and meet our managed services team, and kind of see what they do and how they do it. If you're interested in having us take a look at your advertising, your campaigns, or have somebody, just reach out to you to talk about Amazon, here's your chance to let us know. We would love to kind of hear from you and kind of hear how we can possibly help you improve your business. Our team is involved in a lot of things, from listing creations to store creations to photography. So it's not just straight up ads, it's managing your whole Amazon channel management. And we'd be happy to talk to you about that. So while people are finishing up this poll, why don't you take a minute, Ed, and give us some final thoughts and tips and recommendations?
Well, I got to say, guys, back in the day when I was a young lad, I did not like Prime Day. But now I've grown and I've become wise to understand what Prime Day is really about. And I love it. It keeps you on your toes. It's really kind of fun because you gain a lot of data really fast. And I love data. So the biggest thing is put all hands on deck and stay on top of everything, not just for those 2 days, for the week leading up and the week after as well. Do not give it your all just on Prime Day and then back off and say, whew, that was fun. Keep on working on it, stay consistent, prove to Amazon that you are worth the traffic that they give you on a daily basis, and show them that you want more traffic going forward. Kind of get in their face more. So give it your all, and definitely let us know if it can help out in any way. Reach out to us.
Brett?
Yeah, I'd give some advice to those who are not participating. First, use this time to research. Use this time to understand what is working, so that next year or the year after, you're more prepared to actually go and engage and maybe run some deals. For those who are running deals, expect the unexpected. We don't quite know, how this Prime Day is going to play out in June relative to a July or an October or December Prime Day. Give it a little bit of time. As long as you've prepared your best you can, let it ride, because odds are you're going to see some success from it. It might not be exactly on par with last year. It could be better. So give it a chance.
Jessica, final thoughts?
Yeah, I think just the data that Ed mentioned, that's going to be your biggest, key right now, regardless of what capacity you're participating in Prime Day, how big, how large you are as a seller. Everyone's going to have access to the same types of data, and everyone is going to be able to harness that to do other things with later. So just get into the details, see what's going on, check out your traffic, your analytics, whatever you can see. Take a look at it and use that to your advantage for Q3, but especially Q4 and beyond. Next year's your Prime Day. Just use that information. It's there and it's free.
Awesome. Thank you. We did have a question come in. The question, it came in from the chat, so I didn't catch it, but it's actually a really great idea. So it's something that I'm going to ask our team if we can do. And that is, Brett, somebody said, hey, can we get with Brett and kind of work up a competitor checklist? So we'll get with you, Brett. We'll work on that. We'll send out an email to everybody afterwards. That's kind of like Brett's competitor checklist. Shouldn't be that hard for us to do, but I think is a great idea. And I know it was something that was mentioned earlier as a tactic. So to wrap up, Prime Day is coming up. It's about 2 weeks away. It's not too late. It's too late to get your inventory in, but it's not too late to take advantage of the increased traffic that will be coming to Amazon. Be considering your promotional schedule, when you're going to run coupons, when you're going to run deals, before, during, and after. Don't forget about after Prime Day, because you have a halo effect of what's happening on Prime Day, and people will still be looking afterwards as they roll into the July time period. If you're not going to be running your own deal, consider what Brett said and be watching your competitors to understand what they're doing so that it can help you to inform your decision for the future. And as Ed said, we maybe didn't like Prime Day. We maybe like it a little bit more today, but it is a tent post holiday in the world of Amazon. And because of that, we have to remember it. We have to take it seriously, and we have to understand how it impacts our business positively and negatively. Advertising today is just one component of your success on Amazon. It's a critical one, and it can really drive your overall goals and success. But it has to be done within a total 360 marketing plan of what you're trying to do. And the customers that we've seen do the best are the ones that have a plan that starts before, runs through, and continues after Prime Day. And if that's the way you think about this, that's how you're going to really, truly set yourself up for success. I want to thank everybody for coming on the webinar today. I want to thank Jessica, Ed, and Brett for joining me. If you are going to be at the Prosper Show, both Jessica and I will be there representing Seller Labs. We'd love to see you, stop by, say hi. If you want to throw in the chat the word Prosper, we'll just know you're there and keep an eye out for you. And if you're not, feel free, if you have any questions, to reach out to us. Our customer support team is always here to help you answer your questions and direct you in the right way. Everybody, Prime Day is right around the corner. Now's the time to do your preparation, to take the couple of minutes to get your business and get your stuff in order. Take a few minutes to do it. Set aside a few hours to at least think about and put your plan together. I hope you got value out of our webinar today. As I always do at the end of every webinar, I want to ask for you to rate us. Let us know in the chat on a 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. Anything less than a 5, Ed gets fired, but don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. No, I'm just kidding. If we didn't meet your expectation today and we fell below the 5, tell me why. Don't just give me a 4, a 3, a 2, or a 1. I can accept it, but I want to know what we could have done to do better. So if you have any suggestions or recommendations, please let us know. Otherwise, thank you all, and we appreciate you guys being here.